On this episode, we discover how to access inner peace. Too many of us are fighting the wrong battle in life. We are looking to people and things for the peace our minds and hearts earnestly seek. Tune in as we discuss fear, affirmations, and arriving at a place I like to call happy, right here on LifeClub. I'm Tashima Jones. Welcome to Life Club. I genuinely believe personal development unlocks the door to the abundant and wonderful life we all already have. I also believe we must be intentional about seeking out that life in order to find and fulfill it. I am so grateful your journey of discovery has led you all the way here. Let's keep moving forward together. Once again, welcome to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Hello, Tashima Jones here. Thank you so much for tuning in to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Super excited to have you joining in. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me. And for that, I am truly grateful. So today we are going to speak about how to obtain inner peace. Yes, most of the strife and turmoil we experience in our lives has nothing to do with other people. It has nothing to do with culture or politics. Most of what we experience doesn't even depend on what we are seeing right in front of us. The stress and the hashtag drama we face has everything to do with what's going on in our internal space of being. I had a vision once where Aunt Harriet visited me, and I speak of Miss Harriet Tubman. And yes, I did go see the movie, and it was amazingly wonderful. Just had to throw that in there. So she came to me in this vision, and she asked me, "What do you want in your room?" And I started to speak about more money and healthier relationships and greater influence. And all of these things pertaining to what I could see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. She continued in a sterner tone, asking the same question. And I finally said love, joy, patience, good health, kindness, to hear the life force much clearer and rest for my soul. And it was at that point everything made sense because that room was me. And the things that I truly desired were internal and eternal. The strife I was experiencing wasn't out there in the hands of a man or some earthly possession or circumstance. It was within me. It was in my philosophy towards life, in my thinking and self perception, and my perspective of other people. Once again, today we are speaking about how to obtain inner peace. Too often we submit to this idea of external power, the type of power that exists in the flesh or natural world, or what some refer to as the five sensory state of being. It looks like another degree, another car, another pair of shoes, another stamp in your passport, some outside possession that seemingly boosts our Instagram profile or the latest social media platforms that exist. But peace is of another dimension. It is of another world. It is truly what we are all secretly seeking when we don't really even recognize it. So we always say on Life Club, when we know the definition of a thing, we are better equipped to use it properly. So let's define peace. The history of this word peace includes freedom from civil disorder, reconciliations, and silence. It means agreement and the absence of war. The word in Hebrew, shalom, refers to peace, and it means safety, well-being, and prosperity. Now, when we are honest with ourselves, we can all admit that our truest heart's desire is to have peace. And the things that we chase after and hunt down are what we believe will bring us that peace. But in reality, peace must first arrive in order for us to create it on the outside. Felicia Rashad mentioned some aphorisms that her mom made her recite and remember growing up. And one of them that really even stuck with me was that the inner reality creates the outer form. Again, the inner reality creates the outer form. When we think about the things that we want to possess on the outside, we cannot ignore the things that rest on the inside. If you want outer peace in the form of abundance and a healthy body and healthy relationship and greater achievements, you cannot ignore that it first has to be created on the inside of you. I explained this idea to Justice, my son, and I talked about the cell phone and how we see the outside of the cell phone and we use the cell phone, but we cannot ignore that without the inside components of that cell phone, we would not be able to use it at all. If someone just gave us a shell of a cell phone, we wouldn't be able to make phone calls. We wouldn't be able to go online. We wouldn't be able to do any of the things that we enjoy doing with that cell phone. And the same is true for us. You have to pay attention to the makeup on the inside of you. And when you do not see the things that you desire to see on the outside of you, you need to really reflect on what is going on inside. To me, it's like that's just like 2 + 2 = 4. I think too often we are chasing a dream or chasing an ideal without first being ready and being trained and being equipped on the inside to really run that race. And then we find ourselves running in circles because you can never really go. Your feet will never go where your mind hasn't already been. And I think oftentimes we try to do the outside, we try to do the outside mechanisms and take the outside steps and actions to obtaining a thing without really embodying that thing to begin with. We've heard the stories of so many people who talk about visualization and imagination and all in the affirmations and everything. But I don't necessarily think that we spend enough time on how visualization and affirmations have changed the individual in order for them to be ready for the opportunities when they arrived. So all of these external actions and behaviors are not really going to take us anywhere if we don't do the self work and the life work on the inside of us first. And one thing that we have to really, really recognize is that the life force is so much more concerned with the prosperity of your soul than your bank account. And again, too many of us want the thing and don't really want the healing. We don't really want the clarity. We don't really want the health that it takes to not only obtain those things, but maintain those things. Because you also hear this other tale of those who are successful and when they realize that obtaining all of this success really didn't do anything for their inner being. And if anything, it showed them how much more important it was to do some internal digging and healing when they received those things. So today we are going to talk about what we have to experience and what we have to do to actually get to the space on the inside of ourselves where we truly, truly are at rest and when we truly, truly have found this idea of peace on the inside of us. And once you get to this place in your life where you are truly, truly peaceful and at a space of rest, you'll understand that all of those things that you truly want and you truly hope for and you truly desire, when they do arrive and when you do meet them on your life's path, they will be enjoyed so much more. Number one, because you're not afraid that you'll lose them. And number two, you understand what true joy is and what true peace is and what true happiness is. And you recognize that everything else is just the cherry on top or the sprinkles, as I would like to say, on the cupcake. Yes. So first, I wanted to speak about fear, and I wanted to speak about the things that we do that really keep us in that space of fear. Fear is your enemy. It is not the girl on the block. It is not people on social media leaving you those mean comments. It's not the dude that broke up with you or the chick that broke your heart. That he, she, they, them, though that's not those people and those things are not your enemy. Fear is your number one enemy. And we all have to conquer fear if we truly, truly want to live life. Again, if you've been tuning into Life Club, you will know that fear and this idea of worry itself is it's literally this act of choking something. It's taking the breath out of something. And when we worry, physically, we feel like that. I know I have in the past. People have panic attacks. They really, really physically start to feel the pain and the torture of worry. So fear is your enemy. So stop talking about all these haters that you really don't have. It's fear. It's fear. And a lot of people like to talk about AKA haters as a notch on your belt, or, that's like a whole nother show. But I want to drive that point home that people, society, culture, politics, the government is not your enemy. It is fear. And once you deal with that, and once you really, really digest that, you will come to this space of enlightenment and recognizing that the only thing that needs the work is you. And we have to own that. And we have to own the things that we are afraid of. And we have to own the fact that we don't want to be afraid anymore. Because oftentimes fear is a security blanket. Some people say they work better under pressure. Some people say that, there has to be a little bit of adrenaline and, nervousness for them to push through and persevere. And that's just torture. And if it's not torturing your mind, it's definitely torturing your physical body. So we have to eradicate fear. And I always say that you're not going to wake up one day and be over everything. You're not going to wake up one day and be emptied of this, the memories that you've had from your childhood or the bad experiences that you've gone through. However, little by little, day by day, meditation after meditation, prayer after prayer, you will start to develop the new you. You will start to retrain your brain. You will start to create new memories to the point where you're laying a new foundation upon which you can move forward and live your life. So we have to deal with fear, and fear is in the best way in my mind to really deal with fear is to seek truth, seek light, seek truth, seek out the you that you were created to be versus the you that you've believed yourself to be or were told you were. Seek the truth about the experiences that you've had in the past. Seek the truth about your future. Seek the truth about your past. Seek the truth about your right now. You have to seek truth, and that will truly set you free. Truth is light. And in seeking truth, you must be transparent. The idea of transparency is being so clear that light can pass through it. Let's just take a breath on that. That felt good. So we have to be transparent. We have to be AKA real with ourselves. We have to be vulnerable. We have to be in this space where we seek and desire light and enlightenment and a spirit of wisdom and understanding and peace when we don't have understanding. You have to want to be happier. You have to want to experience joy. You have to desire newness in your life. Remember, your feet are never going to travel where your mind hasn't already gone. And too many of us are in bondage in our minds to the point where we can't even believe anymore. We can't even dream anymore. We can't even fix our mouths to say our hopes and aspirations because of those mental locks that we experience on a regular basis. So fear, we have to deal with the fear in order to find this place of peace. Remember, peace is the absence of war. So many of us are walking around with little wars going on in the inside of us. And then the next person standing next to you thinks you have an attitude with them, but you really got an attitude with yourself. So again, you have to seek peace. You have to seek enlightenment. You have to have this strong desire to get rid of fear in your life. You have to want it with your soul, your mind, and your inner being. Like, you have to want that. And oftentimes people aren't at that point where they really want it. They've learned how to tolerate it. And that is another point that I wanted to speak about. So many of us are trapped in the 5-year-old self, the 14-year-old self, the self that experienced downfall or defeat. So in those moments, we gravitated towards certain coping mechanisms. If you've had bad relationships, all right, I'm just never going to trust anybody anymore. So I'm going to continue to live my life in distrust. If you lost a job, oh, in that moment, nothing works out for me. I will never get promoted. So you start to shift your paradigm based on that bad circumstance or that unfortunate and unfavorable event. And you take that paradigm and you look at the rest of your life through that lens. It is so vital, so important for you to really dig deep into your philosophy towards life and your philosophy towards yourself and understand why you think the way that you do. It's sort of like a magnet where one event occurs and then it might happen again, and it may very well happen again. And the more you sit back and experience the moment instead of observing the moment, the more you start to get pulled into that direction and start to believe that this is your fate in life. This is your destiny in life, to not have enough or to just be the underdog for the rest of your life. So we have to take stock of our relationships. We have to take stock of our experiences, and we have to take stock of what has happened versus feeling like what has happened is who you are. So come into this space of peace starts with the desire to wanting peace. Because some people like to argue and some people like to fight and some people really like to be at war. I really don't understand it. But some people like to argue for the sake of arguing, and you can't be that person. Remember, your feet are never going to go where your mind has not already traveled. So if in your mind, life is a fight, you're always going to show up to a fight. You're always going to walk into a boxing match because that is your paradigm. That is the way that you think. And again, the way you think is connected to the experiences you've had, and more importantly, how you've responded to those experiences that you've had. So I was just taking a Selah. I was just thinking, remember, I told you I was working on pacing myself, and it feels really good to just be able to breathe. Yes. So we have to be mindful of our desires and what it is that we truly want out of life. Because if you truly want peace, you will seek it. You will pursue peace. Then once we recognize, okay, this is what I want. Like, I really want to be happy. Like, I really do. I want to be happy. So you decide, I want to be happy. You deal with the fears, because fear and what I'm learning comes in the forms of insecurities. It comes in the form of not having enough, not being secure in one area or another. So once you deal with the fear and you become transparent about those fears, and you deal with the insecurities that lead to those fears, you then are able to come to this point in yourself where you can move forward. Moving forward is a daily practice. It's a minute by minute practice. This is a second by second practice. It is understanding how you once thought recognizing that you are shifting your thinking process and shifting your paradigm, and always being conscious and always being aware of that shift, of that transition in your life. So you have to be on guard. And being on guard is not necessarily being afraid. Being on guard is more so being watchful. I'm sure plenty of us have, you know, been in a really great mood. And then out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, our mood shifts. And sometimes you can't really pinpoint what happened in that moment. You just feel your vibe switching. You feel a little different. And when that happens to me, I backtrack my thoughts. I backtrack my conversations. I backtrack what I just saw on social media. I backtrack the conversation I just had with my son, or I what I just heard or what I just saw, whether it's in passing or direct communication. Backtrack those thoughts. So being cautious and being aware and being observant of your thoughts is simply being watchful, being mindful of that. Mindfulness is not being empty, it is being aware, it is being conscious, it is being alert in the internal space that's going on within yourself. So we deal with fear first by simply saying, I just don't want to be scared no more. Just acknowledging it, just surrendering it, aka letting fear go to receive a new and better thing. So acknowledge that you are afraid of things, acknowledge the fear. That should lead you into those insecurities. Remember, to be insecure is to feel inadequate. It is to feel that you do not have enough in an area, whatever area that may be in your life. And once you deal with those things, you're patient towards yourself. You extend grace towards yourself. You understand that if you thought this way for 36 years, don't think that you're going to wake up the next day and not have a little bit of a sprinkle of this ideology, of this paradigm on the inside of you. Be patient with yourself and extend grace towards yourself. Then you get to the space where you start to think differently, you start to behave differently, and then you start to experience life differently. Now, part of this process is definitely personal development. I feel like this entire process is personal development. It is coming to a space in your life, in yourself, in your mind, where you recognize that you are being built day by day. You are being built. And we're going to dive right into that. If you are just tuning in, we are speaking about how to obtain inner peace. And we spoke about how peace is this idea of being absent from war. It's being in alignment. It's being in agreement. It's being in this quiet confidence that all is well. We talked about first, it has to be a desire to be in peace, to sincerely be in peace, to be at rest with who you are and what is. And there's this truth that you can never be tempted with something that you do not desire. So you have to recognize that the battles that you may face and the things that you may be up against all are tied into your desire. So we have to really dig into what it is that we truly, truly want. And oftentimes, some of us want things just because we don't know any better, or some of us want things because we don't think the opposite, the better of that thing is possible. So you have to be mindful of your desires, and you have to have this desire to truly arrive at this space of peace. Now, peace is also arrived at by dealing with fear. And fear is truly this insecurity of being somebody other than who you truly are, whether it's your identity being questioned or your ability being questioned or the things that you have and are able to accomplish in your life. Now, insecurities come in the forms Food, money, relationships, academics, power, authority, those are all external insecurities, and they are also external forms of power. But you have to be on this mission to seeking authentic power, and that is power that truly rests on the inside of you. So deal with the fear, and in the way to deal with fear is to look at your insecurities, face those insecurities, face the issues that you have. Dealt with for years and years and years. And once you start doing that, you're going to find a lot of things that you didn't even recognize that you were afraid of or insecure, some in areas that you didn't even recognize you were insecure in. So deal with those things. And the more you deal with those things, the more enlightenment you experience and the more wisdom you experience. And therefore, the more peace and power you experience. Remember to be patient with yourself. If you have been thinking the same thoughts for 50 years, baby girl, baby boy, please don't stress yourself out when you have a negative thought, and when you have like a low vibrational thought, or you even slip back into old behavior. Like, you have to extend grace to yourself, extend grace in this road, this road we call life, this journey we call life. So being patient with yourself. And all of this is underneath this blanket of personal development. You are being built day by day. It's so, always go back to the baby, this infamous baby that I'm always talking about. And when a baby is inside of its mother's womb, that baby is being developed. You go to the doctor, and one thing is being formed on the inside of that baby. It's the brain, it's the legs, it's the feet, it's the eyes, nose, and mouth. Like, all of these things are taking time to manifest and come together. And that's just the physical process of coming into this world as a human being. But we are two parts. We are human and we are beings. We are flesh and we are spiritual. And you have to recognize that the developmental process of your soul and of your mind and of your heart and of the inner being is a lifelong journey. Let's just take a deep breath on that reality, because some of us think that we know everything. Some of us think that there's nothing new to learn. Some of us think we just made it. Like, we are it. And we have to literally get over ourselves. We have to become childlike when it comes to being a student of life. We have to be students of life. Yes, that is the answer to somebody's quiet secret prayer. You have to be a student of life. Oftentimes when we get to a certain age, be it 18, 21, or 30, we think that we're supposed to have everything together, and we really don't. And that's okay. The truth of the matter is this: the more you learn, the more wisdom you gain, the further along you can go. But understand that life is this journey of, again, like Lauryn Hill said, mastering something and learning something, mastering something and learning something. And when we stop learning, we stop growing. And when we stop growing, we are really not alive, because anything that is alive is constantly growing. A tree that is not growing anymore, we already know what happens. Pretty soon it will stand no more. So stay in this space of learning, stay in student mode, and again, be ready to graduate from one classroom as well as enroll into another course of life. Yes, personal development. It is truly the answer to so many of our questions. When I speak to different people, or even within myself, sometimes you get frustrated because you don't know something. And instead of moving out of that state of frustration and learning a thing, you choose to stay in frustration. And that's going to keep you there. It's not going to advance you to anywhere that you truly desire to be in life. Again, we are speaking about inner peace, this absence of this internal war that so many of us are grappling with on a day-to-day basis. Remember to deal with the fear. Fear is linked to insecurity. So be transparent, aka allow light through those things that you know you feel inadequate in. And oftentimes, when we feel inadequate in an area, what I've learned is that when you start to deal with that area, you may never be the master of that area. For me, it is singing. I am low key a singer slash rapper in my heart, although I know that is not my calling, but I truly enjoy it. And what I realize is that it's not about me being the best singer. It's being okay with my voice and how I sound. And the same is true for you. Sometimes it's not about changing a thing, it's about changing your perspective of that thing. So again, start to delayer the insecurities that you face on a day-to-day basis, and your vision towards it will definitely change. Talks about fear, talks about dealing with insecurities, talks about being patient with yourself along the process, as well as seeking personal development. And I wanted to move forward to affirmations or confessions, if you will. So, again, if you are an avid listener of Life Club, we have talked about the power of your sound. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the video on the sonic boom, but you will learn and understand from those videos on a sonic boom. When an object is going faster than, I believe, the speed of light, it is able to get through and break through this sound barrier, and you can literally see it's almost like white noise, if you will, but it's a cloud or a wave where that's being bent because the pressure is so strong going through it. It reveals sound, literally. And we talked about the ultrasound and how high frequency sound waves are being emitted into a mother's womb, and those sound waves are bouncing off of the fetus, of the baby on the inside, pushing back an image. Ultrasound, sonogram. It is a photo manifested through sound, just like a photograph is a picture manifested through light. Photo is light, graph is image, or all that good stuff. So I say that to say the power of your words is so ginormous that it's kind of surreal. You think about these moments of serendipity or synchronicity, and you really start to realize that you can literally speak things into existence. The spiritual is just real, like Jay-Z would say. Being mindful of your words. Now, this can work inside out, but it can also work from the outside in. Remember, I said some things you just got to do, some things you just got to say, regardless of how you feel and regardless of what you see. But what I have learned is that we can say things all day, every day, but if it's not attached to a belief or this desire and the energy of intention, you may not see it manifest itself. I'm just saying. Again, you hear all of these stories about how people hashtag manifested certain things in their lives. But you have to understand that number one was a process. And number two, that word that they confessed over and over and over, that word that they, spoke out into the atmosphere over and over and over, took root on the inside of them long before it ever manifested on the outside of them. So you have to become what you say. And a lot of us at this point in our lives may not want to become what we say, because we saying a lot of rubbish in these streets. So take stock of what it is that you are saying. Take stock of what it is that you are speaking, whether it's over your personal situation and over other people's situations too. And that could be your child, that could be your girlfriend, that could be your boyfriend, that could be a lot of different things. Be mindful of what it is that you are speaking forth on a regular basis. You have to understand that your words are seeds that you are planting, not only in your heart, but in this universe, in this atmosphere. And I know a lot of us do not want most of what we say to take root. So whenever you do speak a thing, imagine it coming to life right in front of you. Let's just take a deep breath. Attach an image to what it is that you are saying on a regular basis. So if you want favorable things, if you want things that are plenty and in abundance, if you want things that are light and love and pure and noble and kind and all that good stuff, start to speak those things. And I'm not just talking about when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you say your affirmations 10 times to yourself. I'm talking about in your daily conversations. I'm talking about when you're at work, when you're at school, when you're hanging out with your friends, when you're on the phone, even when you're text messaging, on social media, your responses to things that are happening to you in life. Be mindful of your words. Be mindful of your words. Be mindful of the words that you speak because they become things. And if you do not like the environment that you are living in, if you don't like the things that you are seeing with your natural eyes, look at your words, like literally look at them, create that image that is attached to that word. Because for example, I can say cat, and an image of a cat will pop into your mind. An image of my neighbor's cat is in my mind right now. My childhood neighbors. If I say car, an image of a car is going to pop into your mind right now. I'm thinking about my Chevy Sonic LTZ that I used to have. I don't have it anymore. I'm so grateful that I do not have to alternate side park anymore. Whew. But look at even that. I thought about my car and it led me to another thought of alternate side parking. Be mindful of your words. There are so many things that you can even say right now, and it will form an image of it, whether it's an image of something that you've already seen or simply your imagination working to create the thing that you are saying in your mind. So, once again, you have to be mindful of your words. Speak words of peace, and you will truly, truly experience peace on the inside. And what peace does is really positions you and it gives you this heart posture of allowing things to flow to you and to flow through you without toil. Because I think in our society, we are taught that everything is a competition. Again, that's external power. External power exists on the outside of you, and it's not enough for everybody. But authentic power that exists on the inside of you, that internal power, is in abundance, number one. And your power is your power, and it cannot be taken away from you. So be mindful of your words. And last but not least, none of this is possible without the life force. Again, we are part human and part spiritual beings. I always go back to my birthday, April 5th, 1983. Didn't ask to just, I don't remember having this conversation about, I want to be born on this day. I'm going to pick that one. So because I did not have this authority to bring myself here in the form of Tashima Jones, I have to recognize that my power is limited in this journey without the force that brought me here. Understand that everything that is physical is birthed from the spiritual. We have to really take that into account, and we have to really allow that to be true on the inside of us. Going back to the sound barrier, you didn't see that white noise prior to that pressure being pushed through it. And there you have it. You see the waves in the sky. You see the white noise up here. Remember, peace is absence of war. So the battle that you are truly facing on a day-to-day basis is not on the outside of you, but it is on the inside of you and in the inner man, the core of who you are. So when you win that battle, you win every battle that you can ever face in this natural world. Yes. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. We have been speaking about how to obtain inner peace. Your homework for this week is to meditate for at least 1 minute a day on being free and start to pursue peace at all costs. Remember, deal with the fears that you have, aka the insecurities that you have developed over time. Deal with those things. Be patient with yourself. Extend grace towards yourself and recognize that things may not change overnight, but they do change with each and every passing moment of practice, aka disciplining yourself to continue on this journey of pursuing peace. Recognize that this is all a part of you continuing to develop into the you that you have been called to be. Watch your mouth, aka be mindful of the words that you are speaking. And remember that none of this is possible without the life force, without the life teacher to bring you to this amazingly wonderful real life dream that you can live with your eyes wide open. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Once again, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you are here with me. And for that, I am truly, truly grateful. You can find me on tashimajones.com, all of my social media and contact information, as well as my app are found there. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon. I am Tashima Jones, and you've been listening to Life Club. Thank you for tuning in.